All right. Ooh, try to wake you up. So it's kind of funny to have a crowd that's kind of very diverse. I don't know where to look, you know. Right, left, middle. Over there, it's a bit more dense. I see some familiar faces. Thanks for coming for this session in the Waterfall Theater. So we're going to talk about market fit today in the context of the Salesforce platform, in the context of the AppExchange, in the context of the learnings that we had from a great programs that we're running. And so this presentation is basically based on a lot of feedback, a lot of personal experiences over the last 4 years when I joined Salesforce to potentially help you be successful and find product market fits, which in other words is success. It's kind of part of the lingo in startup land. And so we're going to try to explore that. And as always, it's always good to have some sort of a tips format. So we're going to have 10 tips I'm going to go through over the next 20 minutes. So my name is Ludovic Ulrich. I joined Salesforce 4 years ago, and I'm running the startup program. So we call it Salesforce for Startups. Some of you might have been familiar with the Salesforce incubator. We had a similar session last year at TrialDX highlighting some of the incubator companies that we've been helping. We now call it Salesforce Accelerate. That's my T-shirt right there. And the idea is accelerating the trajectory of some of those most promising partners. And we have a formal program to do that. I'm going to go in a few details in a minute. This program, let's start in a very traditional Salesforce fashion by talking about the companies. You see here 11 logos. Those are the companies we have in the current batch. I have a few of them actually in the audience right now, and some of them presenting over there. The idea is those companies align with Salesforce, and they want to accelerate with us. They want to go from A to B, which usually has something to do with the AppExchange, has something to do with go-to-market alignment, but obviously it goes through doing something with the platform. Whether it's connecting with the API is something a little bit more ambitious, obviously, as you can imagine. So those companies are specifically focused on industries. And that's one of the iteration, we iterated on this program. We actually, ourselves, were looking for product market fits. And we moved to a program that's currently 3 months long. It's virtual, so that means that we have companies from all over North America who actually join the program. Every week we deliver content, as well as actually physical workshop we run in San Francisco. So they're a little past the middle of the program right now, and they're going to have a demo day on April 18th. So if some of you want to talk to me after the session, happy to share the invitation to see what they have built. And another way as well for you to talk to them is that they're right there. So this is pictures from this morning. So if you go to the AppExchange then just over there, they have a booth. So that's also part of what we do in the program, is highlighting their success, highlighting what they're doing, and putting them in front of you, the Salesforce ecosystem, the Salesforce community, so that they can capture feedback. With that, you like this slide. Don't make any purchase decision based on what I'm about to talk about. I go quick. So here's the main question. How many of you are Salesforce partners in the audience? A few? Just a few, cool. So normally it's roughly 25-30% of the audience here at TrialDX. But that said, some partners are more successful than others. And so let's try to decipher, let's try to explore why some are more successful than others. Usually in startup land, and I've been playing in that space for a while, we talk always about team, products, and markets. So team, it's kind of obvious. You need a great team, right? Table stakes. The good news is here at TrialDX, a lot of people come here to actually meet people. So have a blast. There's a lot of great, brilliant developers and admin here who can help you build a business. But let's talk more about products. And same thing, you have a lot of sessions here to understand the platform better. But let's talk about the intersection between product and markets. And there's a very famous gentleman called Mark Andreessen, venture capitalist here from Andreessen Horowitz, who said that a few years back. I keep referring to that sentence. The only thing that matters is getting to that product market fits. So, it's about timing, right? When we talk market, it's also about timing. It's finding the good market with the right products and satisfying that market at the right time. So it sounds obvious, but for those of you who are starting a company, who might be in the process of running a company, whether you're early stage or later stage, keep asking yourself this question when you build something, when you build a new feature. And actually, let's try to be a little bit more, now that I gave you some sort of a high-level vision, let's try to be a little bit more tactical about it. And some of you might be there, by the way. I forgot to say, ask yourself the question. If you start seeing what you see on the right side of the slide, some sort of repeatable sales process, you have a lot of inbound. Basically, the feedback from your customers, when you know who it is that you need to talk to at your customers is, wow, that's great. If you feel this session is more designed for folks who think they are still more on the left side, where you're basically not at the time where your gut tells you that you can hire a VP of sales and a bunch of customer-facing people. It's still you as a founder, as a CEO, or as the main leader of the company who are trying to understand what you have to sell. You don't really have a high ratio in terms of transformation of your leads into actually business. So try to position yourself before we start this presentation, where you are in the process, right? And the goal is that with those tips, you try to, look like what you see on the right side of the slide. So 10 tips. Let's try to make it bite-sized, and I'll summarize them at the end. So, bear with me. So the first one, I like to use the ketchup example, right? It's pretty self-explanatory, but really, especially when you start, at a conference like this where we're going to hear about a lot of technologies, don't get yourself carried away too much. Don't build something just because you enjoy the latest and greatest that Salesforce just released or any actually technology. Just really think about the user. Again, it sounds like something that you heard before, but think about it really long and hard as you build your roadmap, as you discuss with your engineering team, your product team, and build features. Build for the users. This is kind of a fun example of it, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And this is a bunch of questions that I just recommend some of the startups we're working with to ask themselves, right? Of course, what problem are you solving? So usually you have a good idea of this one, but is there a problem that really exists for your customers? How do you think they're going to use that in the context of your products? Are they existing Salesforce customers, yes or no? That's also a good question to ask. You might be in the Salesforce ecosystem, but is the target audience that you're going after is using Salesforce today? And when you say using Salesforce, which product within Salesforce? The platform, Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud. Ask all those things. And also, the today, in one of the questions here, how to solve the problem today, is really important. Today is important. You need to project them in the future. How are they going to solve this problem in the future? Not today only. They need to be forward-looking. We're talking about digital transformation. There's a lot of companies that are at risk. They need actually your help as innovators, as folks who are running startups to actually help solve problems. And once you identified if it's the case that you can actually sell to the Salesforce customers, which is a good reason to build on the platform and actually consider the AppExchange as a go-to-market strategy, try to identify who is going to be the person who makes the decision. We have a lot of information on this. This is one of the first type of content we delivered during the Accelerate program. Identify the persona. This is typically kind of a marketing user research term, but it's basically as simple as who is going to be the buyer. As you know, on AppExchange, we have a lot of admin. Is the admin the person who is going to be able to make a purchase decision or refer you to the business decision makers? Is the data expert the person you need to go after? Is you're building an analytics solution? Ask yourself those questions, and again, it's probably worth spending time, researching and studying those personas to really be clear about, the one you want to go after. And there's a lot of information here to actually customize your approach based on that. Tip number two. Get Salesforce Smart. So in case you didn't notice, we have something called Trailhead. I think it's pretty clear. But there is the session right before me was about this. Make sure you check the content. There is technical content, but there is a lot of business content as well. So make sure you're Salesforce Smart. We like to use this expression. Once you had a lot of badges and you think you're Salesforce Smart, there's still the idea of time to market, right? We discussed product market fit. Time to market is another one. If you want to go fast, we have actually a select group of partners at Salesforce that we call the PDO, Professional Development or Product Development Outsourcers, or Professional Development Outsourcers, both work, who basically are Salesforce experts. They're services companies, but they help build product exclusively. So there's a company called Code Science, another one called CRM Science, Committee Design, which is a company that is helping us actually build and deliver the program, the Accelerate program as we speak. Happy to connect them to you after the session. Those guys know the platform very well, and they can help you actually accelerate time, compress time, and actually deliver a product at the same time as training your team and making sure you can do that by yourself moving forward. But it's really a great set of resources, sometimes kind of a best-kept secret in the ecosystem. But if you look at all the most successful apps on the AppExchange, very often they actually require the help of a PDO in the early days. Tip number 3, embrace the platform. So some of you might recognize this slide. I don't know if we use this slide too much, but I really like it. It shows all the different layers, all the different things you can get in the platform. If you're talking about identity, user permission, mobile, all those things are part of the platform. So based on your level of understanding of the Salesforce platform, you might discover some things here. Really think about hard as you're building a new feature, if there is something that you can get out of the box. And you're starting from scratch. This is also the value proposition of Salesforce. There's a lot of those elements, those Lego bricks you can assemble to build an enterprise application in a record time versus rebuilding, everything you need basically for an enterprise application. So really embrace the platform. And if you're here, I think I'm preaching to the choir. You have everything you need here at this conference. And one of the things is, embrace the platform also because our customers are. I don't know if you know the statistics. We like to be vocal about it, but 83% of our customers are actually using AppExchange applications on top of Salesforce. That means they understand the idea of the platform, the extensibility. They're actually buying from partners. They're buying from startups. We have more than 5 million installed on the AppExchange. This is the reality. There is demand. So it's just about fulfilling this demand. And part of the reason why there is this demand is customers have the same expectations, have a certain set of common expectation that as a startup, as a software company building a platform, you can fulfill very easily. What if you're pitching to a customer that you're delivering a trusted solution that went through a security review? It's probably going to reassure them and increase the velocity of your sales cycle. What if you're talking about shared data model? An idea of having a common reporting across the board. When you're bringing an application on the AppExchange, that's kind of your pitch to those big customers. It should reassure them. If they validated Salesforce as a platform internally, it's highly likely they're going to be able to buy your technology. So really keep that in mind as you go to market. I really like what's at the bottom right of the slide. It just works, right? It just connects. Now it's your job to sell your business value, your value proposition. Basically, what's going to translate into the blurbs, the screenshot, the video you're going to put in your AppExchange listing if you fast forward your journey. But from a connection, from a data model standpoint, you should have all the ingredients basically to be convincing and sell Fortune 500 companies. Talking about platform, it's a journey. It can be daunting sometimes to build a fully native application if you're not a Salesforce developer. There is different steps. You can start by an API-only connection. You can start with what we call the connector. You can evolve into more of a deep UI integration using Lightning and all the other things. Moving into an integrated data service, and last but not least, a native application, right? A lot of people think on the AppExchange it's only native application. No, we have all kinds of flavors on the AppExchange. Of course, for those of you who are Salesforce experts, don't hesitate to go straight on the native app. Probably going to go faster, but I just wanted to open up and make you think about the different options. Tip number 4: be Lightning ready. So Lightning is an experience, as you know, a platform and an ecosystem. So that's kind of for those of you who are new. Just think about it the 3 ways. So it's a fantastic UX framework. I think we're leading the industry there. There's 3 things to think about. Be Lightning ready. That's the base. We're not going to be listing application who are not Lightning ready on the AppExchange anymore. That's what our customers are asking us. Think about the Lightning design system. I don't have time to go in details there, but that's basically all the elements you need to build a beautiful application and leverage what all my colleagues from the Lightning team built, and that's literally leading edge. And last but not least, thinking about the Lightning components that, this component-based architecture that really help you design a beautiful app on the screen of the service agent, sales reps, or whoever is the audience that you're going after. Industrialize. So we apply that to our own program. As we're trying to look for product market fit for the incubator, we move into a program that's actually now industry focused. So we decided to focus on retail and healthcare. So all the companies I showed on the slide at the beginning of my presentation and are presenting at the AppExchange then are focused on healthcare and retail. And so it makes your solution even more aligned to Salesforce and the go-to-market that we have. One of the things you can try to do is connect and network with the Salesforce folks who are working in the industry you want to go after. They have a lot of information they can share with you. I'm here showing you like the blueprint for wealth management. If you want to build an application in wealth management, just picking that example, you want to make sure you understand where Salesforce is going, how you can complement that. We have a lot of information to share there, and that's what we do with those companies in the Accelerate program, and be hands-on and share that kind of data so that they can complement Salesforce. Another, it's not supposed to be red, right? I just show you to show you what kind of materials could be helpful for you. You know, what you look here in white is basically the white gap, where we see an opportunity for our customers. So it's kind of very interesting information that gives you an opportunity to build and complement what Salesforce provides and actually go to market together with Salesforce, list on the AppExchange, and get a lot of demand from our customers. So industry is a key theme at Salesforce this year, and it's gonna grow. You know, it's part of the growth of the company. It kind of makes sense at this point. Form alliances. So when I started this Accelerate program, I told all the participants, all the startups that we selected that, of course, the goal of the program is to get closer to Salesforce. But very likely, and that's happening as we speak, they form alliances together. It's even more the case when you start thinking about an industry. You have 2 or 3 players in the same healthcare industry, let's say. They can share leads. They can go to market together. We've seen that happen in the ecosystem already. You're seeing some big names here. We're talking DocuSign, you know, like one of the largest players in our ecosystem. But they align with a bunch of other companies. It was called Project Unite. I love this example. They decided to align together and try to have some shared customers. And what do they have in common? They're on the AppExchange. They're Salesforce partners. And they try to basically provide a suite and be solution-oriented and explain how their common customers could be more successful using all those apps together. And you know, I don't have a lot of time, but this is a kind of results you can see from there. It's like share leads, it's like business. You know, this is actually a little bit dated from 2016 at Dreamforce, but they decided again to go to market together, and they're stronger. That's just the reality. You know, we keep talking about the community, the ecosystem. It can translate not only on on that great conference, but translate into commercial alignment, right? Make sure you keep that in mind and you try to know your peers. They're really easy to find. You just type the keywords that relates to your space you want to go after in the AppExchange, and a list of partners will pop up, and you can probably contact them easily, or maybe go to the booth if they happen to be here today. Tip number 7, we're getting a little bit more technical here. Make sure you plan for scale. Product market fit means you're going to have a repeatable sales process, and that's where it might take off. That's the hockey stick. So make sure you're ready for it. That's one of the value proposition of Salesforce, the scale that you get from the platform. Not only get ready for scale from the number of concurrent users, but also from sheer volume. So there's a lot of tools that you can actually use for partners to basically anticipate that. That's all I'm wishing you, is like that you get to that situation, but you need to prepare. We all heard stories about Silicon Valley stories of companies who crash after a massive success, or an article in TechCrunch. Don't be that company. I think with the platform you can anticipate that. I go fast, but your technical evangelists, when you're on your way to be an AppExchange partners, have a lot of resources. If you go on the partner community, there's a lot of resources to anticipate the load, to anticipate the scales you need to have. So you can check it out. I know I'm going fast, but we'll make those slides available to you guys. Tip number 7: tender love and care to SEs. Eventually, that's going to be a lot of the walking and talking you're going to have to do, blocking and tackling both. Talking to the SEs, they're the most powerful people. They can actually recommend solution to the end customers of Salesforce. So make sure you use all those tips, building trust, giving them the facts, giving them the quick story about what your solution is about beyond what's available on the AppExchange. And make sure that, they can actually align with your go-to-market, especially if you go after an industry. There's a subset of the system engineers at Salesforce who sell to our largest customers, so make sure you align with them. And specifically, the best-kept secret is to build an SE-friendly demo. so that they can actually pop up their laptop and show to their customers your solution on behalf of Salesforce, rather than just linking to the AppExchange listing that you might have. It's actually very efficient to transform, the momentum you can have with Salesforce into actual leads. There's a lot of information, by the way, posted on how to build those demos. So again, really encourage you, once you have something that looks like product market fit and you're ready to press the button to align with Salesforce, that you check that out. Almost the last tip, create stories. So I technically belong to the marketing organization, and a lot of what we're doing with the Accelerate program is creating the next generation of trailblazers that can inspire you, that we can put on the Moscone Center and the big banners, to inspire the rest of the ecosystem. So make sure you're fueling that marketing engine. You're creating the case studies, specifically when you have a big customer's name and you can actually show off about this alignment with Salesforce on a big customer name. We'll be very happy to amplify that message and make sure to align as well with the marketing that we're doing. The year of Einstein, you better have some sort of Einstein kind of artificial intelligence play in the way you position your solution. Just be tactical here. Try to align with what we're doing. We're very vocal about what we're doing, so it's very good for you to have the same common message with your customers. And I'm going to finish with tip number 10, right on time. Don't stay still. As you know, Salesforce won a lot of accolades and awards of being the most innovative company in the world, et cetera, et cetera. That's also because we're moving fast. We're acquiring a lot of companies. We're innovating a lot. So make sure you keep pace with that, and you always stay on the edge. You cannot just list on the AppExchange and stay there. You're going to have to make your application evolve. That's the expectation that our customers have from us, but from you as well. And so when you look at the type of innovation we delivered over the last few years, try to anticipate the next one. And that what might trigger from you in the audience, if you're not right now, entrepreneurs are launching an entrepreneurial startups, etc. That might be a good excuse. That might be the trigger to actually think about, aligning with one of the next wave that we have there. You heard about Integration Cloud. It's going to bring about a lot of opportunities. So, think about it hard. So I know it was very fast, but I went through the top 10 tips. Designed for the user, not for yourself. Get Salesforce Smart. Trailhead. Embrace the platform and all the capabilities. You have everything you need here to learn about it. Be lightning ready. It's kind of table stake. I said that. Go after industries and try to be as specific. It's going to make your alignment with Salesforce easier. Not only partner with Salesforce, but try to build alignment with other partners in the ecosystem. That's what makes our ecosystem so different and so unique. Plan for scale in case you get the success that you're thinking about having. Think about the system engineers, the solution engineers, because they're really kind of the best kept secret, the people you want to have as evangelists for your solution. Create stories, fuel the marketing engine, try to anticipate the big message of Dreamforce that we're going to come with. And last but not least, don't stay still, innovate constantly. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it's inspired a few of you to be trailblazers and start a new company. If it's the case, come talk to us at the AppExchange then, and come talk to some of the Accelerate companies. We would be super happy to tell you what they have, what they are cooking, what they're building, and what they're going to publish on the AppExchange very soon. Thank you very much.